Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. We have a busy docket, so let's get to it. First, Ahmaud Arbery. That's right. The murderers, that's right, they've been found guilty of murder, have been found guilty of violating Ahmaud Arbery's civil rights. And boy, that did not take long at all. Second, Kyle Rittenhouse is coming after you. Well, if you made false statements about him, he's coming after you. Next, the DA believes Alec Baldwin's version of events. George Gascon, is he the worst district attorney ever? Hopefully you'll let me know. You are not safe anywhere. Wait until you hear this story. An example of when parents should be charged for the acts of a child. Another Colorado man is in custody. Can you only imagine what he is accused of? And then our dumb criminal of the day. Let's talk about it. Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. It is 2/22/22. That's right, it's Tuesday. Well, first, we have some new merchandise available, but you have to go to scottreich.com. We have a new manufacturer, I think a little better quality, 100% cotton, sizes from small to 3X. And guess what? Only $25. International shipping is also available. 3 different designs, the lawyer. It's always about the money, and lawyers, guns, and money. So go check them out. I have mine on the way. Now remember, if you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button, hit that little bell so you receive notifications of when we go live or put up new content. And guess what? Since it is Tuesday, 2/22/22, it's Tuesday Night Live after dark, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Join us here live. We will take your comments, and we're going to answer the question that many people have asked over the years. What should somebody tell or not tell their attorney, particularly their criminal defense attorney? We'll talk about that. All right, let's get to the docket. First, the 3 men who murdered Ahmaud Arbery, and I can say that without worried about getting sued because, well, the jury found them guilty of the death of Ahmaud Arbery. Travis McMichael and his father, Gregory McMichael, and his friend, Roddy Bryan, have been convicted of federal hate crimes after a jury decided they targeted their victim, Ahmaud Arbery, because of his race. The jurors began deliberating and came to their verdict in just 2 hours of deliberation. Now, during the trial, prosecutors showed roughly 24 text messages with social media posts in which Travis McMichael and Bryan used racial slurs and made derogatory comments about black people. The McMichaels were already serving life without parole after being convicted of murder at a state trial, and Bryan was serving life without the possibility of parole after 15 years, but now he faces extra time because the federal conviction is now there. Ahmaud Arbery's family announced they plan to file civil lawsuits now that the criminal investigation and trials are now complete. Well, that trial didn't take long. I told you I didn't think it was going to take too long at all. And obviously the jury had heard enough to be convinced beyond a reasonable doubt. It's not sure who the Ahmaud Arbery family is going to sue other than those 3 individuals. I guess they could take their house possibly, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to sue any governmental agencies. Now, it is a little scary to think that Mr. McMichaels, a former police officer and an investigator at the district attorney's office where he had recently retired before being involved in the Ahmaud Arbery incident. Oh, and yes, the district attorney also tried to use a little sway that she had to make sure the McMichaels weren't going to be charged. Yeah, it's a little concerning that people convicted of violating somebody's civil rights based upon their race was in government that long. Just something to think about. Hey, Kyle Rittenhouse, remember that kid? Yeah. Well, guess what? He plans on coming after lots of people, and he plans to take aim at people and organizations who called him a murderer and a white supremacist during his trial. Now, Mr. Rittenhouse, 18, was found not guilty when he killed 2 men during the police protest in Kenosha in August of 2020 and testified that he acted in self-defense. And like I said, he was found not guilty of first-degree intentional homicide and other charges and walked out of court a free man. In an interview, Mr. Rittenhouse said he wanted to hold major media and entertainment figures accountable, noting that he had talk show host Whoopi Goldberg in his sights after she allegedly called Rittenhouse a murderer after he was acquitted. Rittenhouse wouldn't say who else his team may go after. There may end up being quite a list, including the President of the United States. Now, that's because 2 months before Biden was elected president, he criticized then President Trump for refusing to condemn people who are against the Black Lives Matter riot as white supremacists. Well, included in the tweet was a picture of, that's right, Mr. Kyle Rittenhouse from the Kenosha shooting. NBA superstar LeBron James also accused Rittenhouse of pretending to cry after the teen broke down on the stand during his murder trial. Guess what? This is going to make the kid from Kentucky, who was labeled a racist as well, and all the major news organizations, or a big chunk of the major news organizations, have written some big checks. Guess what? This is going to dwarf. Guess what? This is going to be huge compared to those settlements. They're going to appear small. And a lot of the celebrities who thought they could say anything they want about anyone they want, you better get your checkbook ready too. And if you've ever been sued, it's not a pleasant experience. And sometimes people write checks just to make things go away because, well, when somebody's looking to take everything you own, you want it to go away. Obviously, we'll continue to follow that, but that's why we're pretty darn careful here at Crime Talk and always give everyone the presumption of innocence until they have been found guilty by a jury of their peers or they plead guilty in a court of law. You just got to be smart about it. So many people out there just are a little extreme when it comes to labeling people basically convicted or calling them guilty of the crimes in which they are accused. Everyone is given the presumption of innocence. That's the law. Next on the docket, does the Santa Fe District Attorney Mary Carmack Altweiss, is she on board with Alec Baldwin's story that he never pulled the trigger in the shooting on set of the movie Rust? Well, the DA made the statement, you can pull the hammer back without actually pulling the trigger and without actually locking it. So you pull it back part way, it doesn't lock, and then if you let it go, the firing pin can hit the primer of the bullet. Baldwin insists that he did not pull the trigger, saying in an interview in December of 2021 on ABC News, I would never point a gun at anyone and pull the trigger at them, never. The DA had her investigators perform a test in her office to see if a mechanical malfunction could have resulted in an accidental firing. The result, she says, the hammer could have caused the gun to discharge a bullet. Now, some experts have claimed that there's no way the gun could fire without pulling the trigger, but the DA's own analysis is critical given she's mulling over whether to charge anyone with criminal negligence. And really, the only opinion that really matters in this particular case, when it comes to a criminal case, would be that of the district attorney. She's the one that has prosecutorial discretion to decide whether the case should go forward, even if she thinks the case can be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. If she thinks that she cannot prove her case beyond a reasonable doubt, she has an ethical obligation not to bring those charges forward. Obviously, we'll give Mr. Baldwin the presumption of innocence like we do for everyone, but I may want to draw your attention to a video that we put up last week where I just happened to have from my collection a firearm, a vintage firearm during that time, and we walk through how you can pull it back. But in that particular instance, the example we give, you can't let the hammer go home unless you actually pull the trigger. Take a look. I think it's worth watching. Is George Gascon possibly the worst district attorney ever? Let me know in the comments below after you hear this story. So, a Los Angeles County judge ordered Hannah Tubbs, who is a transgender woman from California, to serve 2 years in a juvenile facility after she pled guilty to sexually assaulting a 10-year-old girl back in 2014. Now, Tubbs, 26, recently pled guilty to molesting the girl in a woman's bathroom 8 years ago when Tubbs was 2 weeks away from turning 18. The significance of that is that the individual could have been charged as an adult. At the time of the crime, she identified as a male and went by James Tubbs. She did not identify as female until she was taken into custody, according to prosecutors. And prosecutors say Tubbs walked into the bathroom of a Denny's in 2014 and grabbed the 10-year-old by the throat, locked her in a stall, and put his hand down the girl's pants. Because Tubbs began identifying as female after she was taken into custody, and the district attorney George Gascon refused to try her as an adult, Tubbs was sentenced to 2 years in a juvenile facility. That's right, a 26-year-old in a juvenile facility. Now, in Los Angeles County juvenile facilities, they can house both male and females, but in separate areas. Tubbs will now be housed with the females. Now, this is the disturbing part. In jailhouse phone recordings between Hannah Tubbs, his/her father, Hannah is gloating over the light punishment, saying, "Don't worry about it. It's a strike, but they're going to plead. I'm going to plead out to them pleading guilty. They're going to stick me on probation, and it's going to be dropped. It's going to be done. I won't even have to register or nothing." His father asks, "So what are they going to do to you then?" To which Tubbs responds, "Nothing." Now, Gascon says he regrets how he handled this case, and that if we knew about her disregard for the harm she caused, we could have handled this case differently. The complex issue and facts of her particular case were unusual, and I should have treated them that way. That's according to Gascon, because now he's getting tough on crime because there is yet again another recall efforts against him. So he's backtracking on more of his policies. Apparently there are no more blanket bans on trying juveniles as adults and no more bans on life sentences. Isn't it funny how the only thing that changes in some of these policies, well, are the politics? And one of our subscribers left a comment which I thought was very witty in the comments and said the only difference between conspiracy theories and facts are, well, about 6 to 9 months. I thought that was very clever because it seems like a lot of the conspiracy theorists, well, they're kind of starting to look correct on a lot of these issues. And the people that look like they were just being insensitive, saying that law and crime wasn't going to be solved by a big hug, I guess they're turning out to be correct as well. All right. You want to see another example why you are safe nowhere and you always need to be able to take care of yourself and be aware of your surroundings? Let me give you another example. A Pennsylvania Uber driver pled for her life before she was killed during an alleged robbery, according to footage captured on her dash cam. Calvin Crew, 22, is charged with homicide, robbery, and tampering with evidence in connection with the death of 38-year-old Christina Spicuzza. Now, Crew allegedly used his girlfriend's phone on February 10th to order an Uber, and then once inside, pulled a gun on Spicuzza and told her to keep driving. With the gun at the back of Spicuzza's head, she says, "Come on, I have a family." To which Crew responds, "I got a family too. Now drive. Complete the trip." Spicuzza begs for Crew to put the gun down, saying that she has 4 children. Crew reached forward and grabbed her cell phone off the dashboard and then grabbed the dash camera before the video ends. Spicuzza's body was found on February 12th in a wooded area in Monroeville the day after she failed to return home and was reported missing. She was shot once in the back of the head, discovered lying face down with her face mask still on. Spicuzza's dark gray Nissan Sentra was discovered in Pitcairn on the same day her body was found. Police found her dash camera on February 16th near the area where Crew allegedly asked to be dropped off. Crew told police that he took an Uber from a woman who picked him up in a dark gray car and was dropped off at a location where he could retrieve his mail. He allegedly told detectives he returned home by bus. Police were not able to find any surveillance footage of Crew in that area. Crew was taken into custody on February 17th and is being held in the Allegheny County Jail. He has not entered a plea. A preliminary hearing is set for February 25th, 2022. We will keep you updated on that, and obviously we'll give Mr. Crew the presumption of innocence. Even those allegations are a little tough to find it was him, you never know. Who else could have been in the car or pulled down the dash cam. Oh, well, we'll just let the facts fall where they may and give Mr. Crew the presumption of innocence today. Now, I get a lot of heat when I talk about the Crumbley matter in Michigan, where I say I don't think the Crumbley should be charged regarding the conduct of their children's actions. Well, guess what? Or their child's action, to be more accurate. Well, let me give you an example of when somebody should be found responsible for the actions of their child. So a Utah man is in custody after he allegedly ordered his 4-year-old son, get this, to shoot at the police officers who responded to a chaotic scene at a McDonald's drive-thru window. Now, the suspect was at a McDonald's in Mid-Valley, Utah, with his 2 younger children when he got into an argument with the staff about his order. Imagine that. People getting upset in a fast food line regarding their order. Have we ever seen that before on Crime Talk? I don't know. Well, the suspect allegedly pulled a gun on the worker in the drive-thru window, demanding that they fix his order. The restaurant staff asked the man to park his car so they could address the problem, and another staff member called the police. Good on them. Law enforcement said that the responding officers approached the man and pulled him from his vehicle. During this, the man allegedly yelled at his 4-year-old son to shoot at the police officers. The child was in the backseat of the car when the officer saw the gun. The officer hit the gun with his hand so that the barrel would shoot upward. A shot was fired, but nobody was struck. Thankfully, the suspect is now in custody on unspecified charges, and the children are in the temporary care of the Division of Child and Family Protective Services. That, ladies and gentlemen, is when parents should be held responsible for the conduct of their children. He was ordering them to fire on the police officer. He knew what he was doing. He had knowledge of it. That is a classic example when somebody is responsible for their children's conduct. Not if you don't know what they're gonna do. Completely different situation. Now we'll give this guy the presumption of innocence and his kid, but this is the kind of guy that, well, frankly, shouldn't be a father. If he's going to yell at people regarding their order at McDonald's, for God's sakes, what makes you think this guy has the patience to be a father? I'm going to say little to none. But, you know, you have to have a license for just about everything except being a dad and a parent and a mom. You know what I'm saying. Okay, guess what? Another Colorado man is in custody. Can you only guess what he may have done? Come on. Well, that's right. Let's take a look. Jefferson County, which is just a stone's throw away here from our office, the deputies in Jefferson County conducted a welfare check at a residence in Conifer, Colorado, the night of February 13th. The neighbors grew concerned when they hadn't seen the 55-year-old resident, Michelle Scott, in several days. When deputies arrived, they said the home was locked and dark with no one home. The neighbors reportedly got permission from Scott's family to enter her home. Inside, they found dogs who had not been cared for and called for the deputies to return to the home. At around 8 a.m., deputies found concerning evidence that suggested foul play and immediately began the process of searching for Scott. Investigators identified Scott's ex-boyfriend, Wayne Lotz, as a person of interest. Now, according to the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, there have been domestic violence calls from her house in the past, with the last one occurring as recently as February 7th. Investigators conducted surveillance on Lotz, and he was reportedly seen driving Scott's 2005 red Toyota Highlander. He also allegedly had her debit card in his possession, and inside the car, deputies found a large blade that looked like it had blood on it. Lotz reportedly said that Scott gave him permission to drive her car because she was on a vacation. I would say so. Her friends, however, said she was protective about her vehicle and did not like other people driving the car. Lotz was arrested for aggravated motor vehicle theft and criminal possession of a financial transaction device. Michelle Scott's body was found on February 15th near Pleasant Park, also located in Jefferson County. Lotz was charged with first-degree murder, tampering with evidence, and tampering with a deceased human body. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. If you're going to disappear and you're female, I think it's probably going to take place in Colorado. I don't know what it is. Maybe there's something in the water. I don't know. All I'm saying is be careful. And you probably, before you date anybody, don't commit dating malpractice, check out CrimeTalkSearch.com. It could change your life because Mr. Lotz, he had a felony conviction. Just saying, something you may want to think about. Please go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, sign up for a background subscription service. You'll be happy you did. If there's anyone out there you were ever curious about what was in their background, now is the time to do it. If you're going to get involved with somebody, now is the time to do it. When you go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, you put in the name, literally millions of public records are searched, and a report is generated. And it's going to give you a report. If they have multiple social media accounts, you're going to find it. If they have multiple phone numbers, multiple email addresses, it's going to be found. And more importantly, you're going to get information regarding criminal history. Hopefully the person you're searching has none whatsoever. But if it's there, it's going to be found. You're going to get everything you'd want to know, whether you're going into business or whether you're going into a personal relationship. You're going to be able to find out the information you want to know. So go to CrimeTalkSearch.com, sign up today. You'll be happy you did. Next on the docket, our dumb criminal of the day. Workers at the Franklin Park Zoo in Boston say they saw Matthew Abraham, 24, in an area that is not open to the public, behind the Tiger Tails section exhibit at around 8:45 a.m. When the staff approached Abraham, he climbed over a gate and ran out of the tiger enclosure. Now, zoo security quickly detained the man and he was taken to be mentally evaluated. He was deemed competent and declined additional medical care and was arrested by the Massachusetts State Police. The zoo says that Abraham not only broke into the tiger enclosure, but also broke into the zoo before it was open by climbing over a gate. Now, Abraham, who faces charges of trespassing and disorderly conduct, was released on bail and later given an interview to multiple outlets. Abraham insisted that he wasn't trying to get inside the tiger enclosure because that would be reckless. He added, "They say the eye of the tiger is the most dangerous thing you'll ever see in your whole life. They say the soul is visible through the eye." I think somebody may want to reevaluate Mr. Abraham. Just a thought. And stay out of the tiger enclosures, Mr. Abraham. And that goes for everybody. Consider that your PSA for the day. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time at Crime Talk. Don't forget to join us tonight, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, for Crime Talk After Dark, when we answer the question, what should you say to your attorney or not say to your attorney? Have a great day. We'll see you next time.